Welcome to Subramani. Trust the financial services sector, personal finance, etc., to create new and new terminology. So first you heard of the word FIRE, which was F.I.R.E., where I keep saying, remember that F.I. comes before R.E., which means financial independence for retiring early. Now I'll give you three versions of FIRE, right? One is the F.I.R.E., then there is the Barista Fire, and there is the Lean Fire. At least I've seen one website in the US, Dollars and Data, use this terminology, and let me just explain what it is. Fat fire just seems to be a situation where you have a lot more money than you actually require, which means you don't make any compromise on your standard of living just because you are retired. Now typically what happens in a lean fire is to say, okay, live life frugally, maybe give up your car, maybe shift to a motorcycle, maybe shift to a cycle, whatever. So some of those things which the outside world sees as sacrifice. For example, if you live without a car, it is seen as a big sacrifice. How can you live without a car, right? So then they think you can't afford a car. What happens if you don't want a car and you think, oh, Ola and Uber are good enough? I don't think the world wants to see it that way. Can you afford a car? If you can afford a car, you must have a car. That's the belief. That's a very, very American way of thinking about everything, that if you can afford, you must have it. You must have so a fat fire is a little more luxurious way of retirement, where you can choose what you want to do. You can choose to go on vacations, more liberal vacations, more expensive vacations, right? So you can decide whether to work, but that of course is available with other types also. But largely, yes, you can pursue some expensive hobby if you have. Maybe you play golf, maybe you join a flying club, right? So any of those little more expensive hobbies also you can pursue. Whereas with lean fire, maybe you say, okay, I will make do with one pair of shoes and I will run for 5 years, 7 years with it, and so you live more frugally. So Barista Fire is the other version, where you don't take up a full-time job. You do some part-time jobs, where you use that money to substitute from your main portfolio. Let's say you retire at 50, and then you take up assignments from 50 to say 65. So till 65, if you did not touch your portfolio, obviously your portfolio grew well. So therefore retiring at 65, completely retiring at 65 is a good option, because from 50 to 65 you had a barista kind of a fire. So these are the three different things, right? So fat fire means a more luxurious form of lean fire. Lean fire is when you start giving up a lot of things, saying, okay, I will shift to a cheaper location, I will not live in Mumbai, I will live in Kolhapur, Sholapur or Salem or any of those places. But I found one thing, going to those places does not really save you much money. But anyway, just to give an example, maybe you shift from Bombay to Baroda and you save a lot of money on your housing, because you sold your house in Bombay for 4 crores and you bought a reasonably good house in Baroda for 1 crore. So you put away 3 crores, and but then people say, oh, you compromise on location. But I don't know, the person who is really going to Baroda is not compromised on location. He or she has chosen to go to Baroda positively, right? So yeah, Barista Fire is when you take up a job and you keep working, right? So it's a part-time job, so you don't want to work 14 hours a day. You don't want a sales head in a bank and you're working 18 hours a day and 24 hours a day kind of thing. But you take up a sales head in a smaller organization in Baroda, where again maybe you're not a sales head, but you're a sales coach or something like that, right? So that is Barista. And lean, of course, is when you say, okay, here is my corpus, I'm going to live off it and I don't want to do anything else, and for that I will have a simpler lifestyle. I'm sure that is something which you chose, so it's not as though you think it's a sacrifice, but the world thinks it's a sacrifice. So if the world thinks it's a sacrifice, do you have to answer for it? I think you don't have to, but of course there are some should you do it, should you not do it, it is completely up to you. I mean, I have chosen a lifestyle which I can afford, which I enjoy, and nothing is going to change in my life. Somebody asked me, if you get an extra 10 crores, what is going to happen? Nothing is going to happen. If you get an extra 100 crores, what is going to happen? Nothing is going to happen. If I get an extra 1000 crores, what is going to happen? Maybe I'll buy a private jet. maybe it will cost me 30 crores, but well, what will the jet do? Nothing. But if I have 1000 crores, I need to do something more with that, right? Extra 1000 crores, what will I do? I'll need to do something, and that extra 1000 crores will set my trigger to buy a 30 crore aircraft. I mean, to me, makes no sense. But yes, what are the choices that you have? The advantages of F.I.R.E. One advantage I can think of F.I.R.E. is you're not so much dependent on luck. If you're lean and your portfolio is very tight, one thing going wrong, for example, in 2018 or 19, if you had retired with 1 crore, sorry, and you thought that was enough for you, it was enough. Say it was 30, your annual expenses are 3 lakhs and you needed 30 times that. So you had 1 crore, which was actually 10 lakhs more than what you technically needed. That was fine, but one COVID and one parent or one spouse or somebody, and there was a 25 lakh rupee bill, it has completely destroyed your corpus. That risk is reduced when there is F.I.R.E. You can, you're not compromising on the quality of life that you lead. You continue to have the same car, so therefore people don't feel, now this guy doesn't have a job, so he's traveling by Ola and Uber or something like that, right? So first is, if you are worried about what people think, then F.I.R.E. is important for you. You have more freedom, more optionality, more kind of vacations that you can take. Perhaps this could lead to a greater peace of mind. You're less worried about luck doing something bad to your portfolio, some suboptimal asset allocation. You stayed on in a small cap fund too long, then it didn't do well, so you could have got out perhaps in 2027, but you got out in 2028. That won't matter. Whereas with a lean F.I.R.E., some of those things might become a little tricky. So yeah, here are 3 new words for you. It was new for me. That is Fat Fire, which is a luxurious form of lean F.I.R.E. Lean F.I.R.E. where you cut down on your on the kind of work that you want to do, simply because you want to do something else. So largely, if you ask me, a lean F.I.R.E. is more a pull rather than a push. Nobody is asking you to quit your job and do something, but your hobbies are pulling you. So a lean F.I.R.E. person may perhaps be happier than a fat F.I.R.E. person who says, now I have money, I have to retire, and does not know what to do. So right, so I think F.I.R.E. movement is a little understood, a little misunderstood, in the sense people think it's all about money. I think it's about knowing what to do with your time. So when you don't know what to do with your time and you want to be engaged 2-3 days in a month, then Barista Fire is not bad, because you're doing some work, you're keeping in touch with people. And today I see problems that people are being recommended that go back to your office, meet people. Just sitting at home can be causing a lot of depression among people. So you decide what you want to do. If you know what you want to do, then only retire. But aiming for FI, which is financial independence, is something which all of us can do. But however, if you don't know what to do with your time, keeping your job is not a bad option. Refuse to believe sorry, all these videos which say, oh, quit your job, start off on your own and retire early. Don't do any of these things unless you can write down what you want to do in retirement. So Fat Fire, Barista Fire, Lean Fire, new words for me for sure. I'm sure it is new for many of you, if not for all of you. So decide what you want to do, then you decide whether Lean Fire is going to be bad. But yeah, Fat Fire is adding a little more cushion to Lean Fire, simply because in case something goes wrong and 10, 20, 30% of your portfolio is destroyed for whatever reasons. Here it was destroyed by COVID, there it can be destroyed by something else. Then it does not create so much panic. You're not worried, do I have to go back to work? That gives you a little more cushion. That's all. Thank you.